Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back, as always, to another episode of our Baldur's Gate 3 Let's Play The Dark Urge with our main man Krolt and his lovely crew of companions so conveniently located off-screen, except for Gale down here, who's making a sick cameo, alongside with Withers. Today we're going to take a step back from the larger story of things, our main goal of getting to Moonrise Towers. We're going to take a step back from that and focus on a little time in camp today. We're going to get our clothing all customized, get everybody dyed up the right way. We're going to get our inventories all straightened out, make sure that Krolt doesn't have any random arrows that he doesn't need. We're going to make sure that all of our spells are assigned the correct way and that we have everything at the ready that we want to as we get ready to head into the Underdark and exit the intro area of Baldur's Gate 3, the Heartlands. And Krolt is already getting tired of me talking, and I think you may be as well. So we are going to, without further ado, get moving here. The number one thing that I want to try to start out is we got this very cool black dye. First thing that we're actually going to do is get rid of Krolt's arrows, because Krolt is almost never going to shoot these, and if he is, we are in trouble. And so we'll give them to the likes of Lae'zel, Shadowheart, Astarion, etc. I'm not going to be a stickler for who's exactly carrying what, because if it really breaks down into that, we can look into the inventories ourselves. And yeah, so we're not going to make any progress today on the main story. If we're leaving camp, it's to go to a merchant to go and sell some random junk items that we have. So if you're just looking for the storyline and the action thus further along, this is an episode to skip. We're just chilling out today. And so we're going to keep on chilling out by getting these keys on here. I don't expect this to be a full-length episode. I'm kind of treating this as a bonus episode, really depending on how much I can get done today. I'm hoping that I drop this kind of in a similar way that we did episode 0 and 1 dropping at the same time. I'm hoping that this, which will be episode 12, and episode 13 will drop at the same time. It depends on how much work I get done today. Hopefully that's the case. And so shovel we'll hold on to. We'll do a whole... Oh, don't you worry. This is going to get organized here in a second. Don't you worry. But camp supply sack, this is perfect. We can send all this to camp. Another camp supply sack. Certainly don't need 2 of these, so we can send one of those to camp. Elixir of Sylvanas neutralizes the effects of all poisons. So that's like... I'm going to try... I'm going to organize this a little bit better here, so that way I can easily see like what are some very good items that we want to be making sure that we have on hand for when it's useful. I'm going to send that to camp because, like I mentioned, when we picked it up, we'll just use that once we get closer to the outer city. Keychain. Keep the shovel down here as well. Got a lot of wares, so we're just going to move our wares down here. Scratch's ball, definitely going to be... I didn't realize that it makes the squeak toy sound when you move it. That's funny. Potion of speed. All right, so we're definitely going to want to hold on to toxins, potions, elixirs, all that. The dyes will move out of the way as well because we'll get into... Actually, we're just going to send these to camp because we won't need them immediately. Smoke powder satchel. This is something to definitely hold on to, and there's going to be a room that we actually might hit in this episode just because... actually, probably not, because I just mentioned that we're... Yeah, we won't go there because then we'll pick that stuff up and it'll definitely be useful later, and there's no point in, after I mentioned that we won't do anything story related, that to then go and pick something up that we'll be using in a story moment. So we're just going to organize up our elixirs and whatnot. Then kind of our... Fuck, I did not mean to do that. Fuck me. Damn, that stinks. But whatever. Now Krolt's got Featherfall for the next 9 turns. I was going to say is we will gather up our kind of passive potions in a different area, and what I mean by that is stuff that like you wouldn't really be using in combat, like mind reading or Featherfall. If I didn't just do that, animal speaking, another great example. Get our thieves tools up here with the trap disarm toolkit. Spike bulb, caustic bulb. I haven't found very many void bulbs. I feel like I normally like wind up with having like 6 of them after this, like kind of at this point in the game. I've only used, have I used more than one of them? I think I maybe used 2, but I feel like I usually have more than that. The grease bottle we'll hold on to as well. Oil barrel, this is incredibly useful, but not something that we really want to be carrying around with us for that long, because you can see it's 40 weight. This oil barrel is basically 60% of our inventory. Film student math, right? If I did that right. Antidote. Definitely put this guy. This kind of goes with our combat potions as well. Oh, actually, elixir of Sylvanas. That's just the exact same as a regular antidote. Put the simple toxin up here. The alchemist fire. These are just kind of more fun, but since we have Shadowheart and Astarion in our party currently, that's pretty useless. Along with Krolt, we can all kind of cast Firebolt. So maybe it's useful trading these. Who knows? Oil of accuracy. Certainly put that up there. Pull these guys down. Now we got 2 layers of it. Scroll of detect thoughts and scroll of burning hands. We'll hold on to these guys for sure. And we'll put them up here as well. Kind of move these down to our passive potion vibe. And nice, put our gold up here too. This is not going to stay this way, but now it's just a much more organized version. We're not going to, and you know, we'll do this for everybody, but it'll be much quicker for these folks since we... Oh, Lae'zel doesn't need another crossbow. We can add that to her wares here. Oh, she's got a few things we can sell. Add to wares. Nice, nice, nice. Got some water, too. That's always useful. Hold on to these. These soul coins are completely worthless to us because Karlach isn't in our party, so we'll definitely add that to wares. She could certainly use with another... with a few more potions. Scroll of Featherfall. Hold on to that as well. Because that'll be useful, because then we can have her cast this jump and then cast the Featherfall. Oh, and that's a bonus action too. That's very useful. So we can have her cast this jump, then cast the Featherfall, and I mean, she'll be able to, I don't know, leap from here to Baldur's Gate, I guess. We certainly want to get our characters some better gear. We're definitely kind of starting to lack in the gear department. That's most... We haven't really been focusing on many people besides Krolt. Where he's pretty decked out. He's certainly our leader, but everyone else just kind of has, you know, something here or there. And we want to start focusing up on our other party members, or else they will certainly feel the brunt of our enemies. Which Krolt will too, because he's got such a low AC, but he'll be able to dish it out. Which, I'm rambling. Perfect. I'd say that's good enough for Lae'zel at the moment. Shadowheart. I don't know why keys don't automatically go on your keychain. It doesn't quite make sense to me. Feels like sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Which, yeah. And I gotta come in here and assign them, which is a shame. But there are bigger problems to have. Yeah. Shadowheart really doesn't have much in her inventory here, so it's cool. Move on to Astarion here. Let's see. Whoopsie daisies. Alrighty, these we're not going to hold on to. We can certainly sell these at this point, though. Why am I... Is there no add to wares? Can I not add a, like, story item to wares? I believe that's what the orange means, that they're story items. Did I just miss it? Add to... Yeah, no, for whatever reason I can't. I bet you I can still sell it to a merchant, but... Volo's Complete Guide to the Behavior of Nymphs. We're also going to do a little bit of reading this episode, catching up on a few things. So we'll put our wares down here. Oh, perfect. Another potion of Featherfall. Isn't that cool? This we're going to send to Lae'zel. Elixir of Fire Resistance. Certainly hold on to that. Astarian should have all of our thieves' tools. We'll do a little bit more transfer of items in a second here. Books can get sent to camp. Elixir of fire resistance, thieves' tool, void bulb. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Now we're gonna press tab. And we can split these up between our guys here. Give everybody 5 or so. Nice. Cool. And then we can give Astarian our thieves' tools as well. And our bomb disarm kits. We will keep, let's keep a few on Krolt just in case we send Astarian to camp. We swap him out with somebody, and then I will certainly forget. I accidentally hit use on that trap disarm toolkit. All right, nice. Now we're going to do a little bit of transmogging. So, we talked about this a few episodes ago. I'm not going to explain it every time we do it, but we can just use our transmog crystal here and make everybody's armor look a little bit nicer. Oh, I didn't mean to send this to camp. We're going to pick that up and add to our wares. Pick that up and add to our wares. Nice. And let's transmog pick up. We're going to combine here. We got Lazel's Get Yankee, half plate. This is the, use this crystal, and then place the item you wish to glamour on the left, and the appearance you wish to copy on the right. So, the appearance that we wish to copy is the Get Yankee armor, and the piece that we're glamoring is this one. And now, boom. We're going to send this to camp. We'll never sell, because you do get a copy of the piece of clothing. For example, we got Shadow Hearts here, we have Lazel's here. We'll never sell these pieces here to like gain the gold back, so we'll make sure that we're not doing that, because that would be kind of cheaty in my mind, because you're essentially just generating better armor. Oh, actually, maybe you're not. I thought you got a copy of it, but maybe not. But regardless, we won't sell their default gear to keep it clean. The transmog, that one is good too. Astarian still got his normal stuff. Shadowheart, we sorted that. Yeah, sweet. All right, so we can send this back to camp here. Then Shadowheart. Completely blank there for a second. We're gonna pull this black die, and we're gonna see how this looks, because in my mind, Shadowheart's pretty emo, and I think most people would agree with me in that regard. So we're gonna try this super black die that makes things, yeah, completely black, and I think that's more akin with Shadowheart's look. You guys tell me what you think. And we also have the I disagree with me if you want. I think it's just stupid that you can only use dies once and you can only find like 2 of them in any one place. I think that's just silly. And so I've got the unlimited dying mod on. Sue me. So yeah, I wonder, can you dye this, I wonder? I don't know. I think we'll probably leave that though. Actually, no. Let's try. Yeah, very cool. Now let's go up and talk to Shadowheart. We also are going to talk to Will and get his reasoning for why he is still here. Or if he has anything for that. Because we did technically raid the Grove.
I don't think there'll be any more trouble between Lazel and I, if you were wondering. We can all sleep easier now. Well, apart from all the rest.
Let me know what you guys think about this look. If it's something that you hate, we will certainly change it. But if not, we'll stick with it. I like the blacked out goth look for Shadowheart at this point in the game. Let me know what you think. I'm keeping an eye on both of you. I don't want a fight happening again. I'm surprised you didn't leave. That's good. I'd rather keep things friendly between all of us. I'm keeping an eye on both of you.
Relax. We'll kiss and make up on our own time. Someone prodding at a newly opened wound doesn't help matters.
Okay, lady. So I mentioned we're not going to do, advance the story. We are going to catch up with our companions here, because we have not spent very much time talking to the companions at all this playthrough, and I certainly think that we might not be missing out, but I certainly think that it's worthwhile to talk to these guys. The first thing that I want to do before we do any of that, though, is actually look at how we're seen by all of these characters, and not very well, honestly. Lae'zel likes me. Shadowheart is not a big fan, and neither is Astarion. I'm curious what Gale and them have to say. Can I look at that from here? No, I don't think so. I think we gotta have them in our party for that, but that's okay. Let's talk. First, I'm very interested to talk to Will, because I didn't think about it until Katrissa commented on it, but I did realize that we're also gonna pick this up real quick. Will should have left. I thought, at least. Because we sent Minthara after them. We can see it right in our journal here. If we head down to save the refugees. Oh, the surviving tieflings have left the grove, but we sent. How strange. So I found us I've done a little bit of investigating to why Will is still in our camp, and it's very interesting. The game, I think, is at a little bit of an impasse with our playthrough and doesn't understand what decisions we've made. And this is going to be very interesting as things play out, because if we look at our journal here, number 1, Exhibit A, is the Grove's door is battered in, which this only happens when Minthara raids the Grove. But if we look at our journal, and we go down to our Save the Refugees quest here, we can see that Kaga died before the tieflings were forced out of the Grove, and the surviving tieflings left the Grove. They won't need our help now. So, and the surviving tieflings, you gotta remember, is literally like the 2 people that survived are our idle attack. Kill Kaga. Kaga died in the fight, so that's what happened there. Defeat the goblins, complete. Travel to the goblin camp. Search for the leaders. The tieflings were forced out before we could deal with the goblins. Now this is where it gets interesting, because Minthara asked us to interrogate the prisoner. She wants to know where the adventurers were hiding out. We've already told her where the adventurers were hiding out, and that, or I guess technically we didn't tell her where the adventurers were hiding out. We told her that we had already done it, and she said that she would go to the Grove. And so, here we are. The surviving tieflings have left, and we haven't found Halsin. That's not true, and it goes against what we saw with our Save the Refugee quest. We found Halsin. And so it'll be very interesting. I wonder if we go down and talk to Halsin. Will happen. And so I think we may want to go back down there and talk to him again and see if there's any new info after this has happened. Maybe. We'll see. Because I think we did talk to him in episode 10, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think we'll go down and talk to him in the next episode, just to be sure. But my point is that I think we're in a very, very interesting situation that not many people have. And so it'll be very interesting because I did go back. I ran over to the goblin camp to see if Minthara was still there. She's not. It's the same place that we saw the other day when we ran through and said, where the hell did all the where'd all the goblin, why are all the goblins still here and where did Minthara go? It's the exact same situation. But it seems that for whatever reason, hey guys, this is editing Ansonex here. I wanted to drop this in because I've done a little bit more thinking here on this than when I was just talking about it in the recording. And I think it's because we did the Idol of Sylvanas fight, and then before we even long rested and gave the tieflings the ability to leave, or the druids the ability to react, or the game really the ability to digest it, because as we've been over, the game really treats long rests as a very important moment for it to advance the story, give opportunity for companion cutscenes and things like that. And I think because we did the Idol of Sylvanas fight, and then we didn't long rest between doing that and then going and immediately telling Minthara that everybody was dead there, I think that might be what caused our jam up. Because we didn't go and give the Idol of Sylvanas right back to Mole like it was asked. I think that probably could have been a checkpoint for marking that Idol of Sylvanas questline done. Basically, I think that we didn't hit a little somewhere along the way. I think there was a little flag for the game to note that we did the Idol of Sylvanas checkpoint, and because we did that, because we didn't do that, we didn't hit that checkpoint, that flag, whatever it is, and then went and immediately hit a checkpoint for the Raid the Grove questline. The game might have kind of shorted out in a way and didn't really know which line we went down. So I think that's where things came from. I think that the game would default to that we've raided the Grove if you look at, because the gate to the Grove's been busted down. So I think that the game thinks that we've raided the Grove essentially. And so I'm nearly positive with how Minthara is no longer in the Goblin camp that she's moved on to Moonrise Towers, and so I think the game is likely just treating this as if we raided the Grove, but I've never experienced anything like this before, and in my Googling around, it doesn't seem like many others have either. Maybe I'm just not an experienced Googler, but let me know what you think. I'm very interested by this. So, we'll have to see. It'll be very interesting. But let's talk to Will real quick, see if he has any thoughts on this.
I hope that's the end of this silly quarrel. They'll have no energy for battling our enemies if Lae'zel and Shadowheart are too busy squabbling among themselves.
That's all you got for me?
Well met.
Yeah, he's got no even mention of the raid on the Grove happening. Does anybody know of a similar situation like this? I'm going to do a little bit of Googling after this episode here and see if there's other stuff. Be very interesting. But we're gonna spend a little bit of time catching up with our companions here for the rest of the episode, I think. What do you think of the illithid potential the Dream Visitor spoke of?
I think that unknowable powers come with unknowable consequences. I can't say I'm not curious, but once you take an illithid by the talon, there's no telling how deep into the abyss it might drag you.
Fair enough. So I think Krolt, we're 12 episodes in now. I think Krolt is having his first somewhat character pivot. Because we've been surviving now, we'll call it, a week, maybe 2 weeks out in the wild here. Krolt has found himself and our companions more powerful than basically everybody else that we've run into. There hasn't been anybody who's realistically challenged us or seriously hurt us since we've become a little bit more established as adventurers out here. So I think Krolt is going to take advantage, start really taking advantage of things, because he knows that if shit hits the fan, he'll be okay. You've seen how dangerous these absolute cultists are. We need the extra help. Damn, we got lucky as hell right there, man.
I'm more than a bit wary, I admit. Still, I am the Frontier's avowed protector. New dangers require new skills to vanquish them. If the tadpole must be my curse, then let the powers it grants me be the Sword Coast's blessing. I will consume what I must to make it so.
Cool. So I don't think that means... I think that means we can feed it to him now. I don't think he necessarily is now just, like, gonna have tadpole powers, like, points. But I've got no memory of my past. Could the parasite have done that?
Seems unusual to me. Then again, we're talking about tadpoles inserted into our brains by rubber-skinned tentacle monsters. There's nothing usual about it.
That's fair.
All the more reason to stick close. I think you'll agree.
You heard? I'm certainly not going to tell him about my urges. I think we'll probably tell Lae'zel about the urges, because I think she's probably... should I do that to Lae'zel or Astarion? I think we'll tell him both. How would you become the Blade of Frontiers, Will?
My father once said, one does not pursue a champion's life. One merely answers its call. So it was for me. I was hunting near the Cloakwood when I heard it. A child crying out from a lone farmstead. I found him in the fields, flanked by goblins. His mother's corpse bled into the soil next to him. I don't remember much of the battle, but I remember drying the boy's tears after.
And he named you the Blade of Frontiers?
No, but he named me friend, and that meant the world. But what of the others? The children never saved, the cries never heard. In the boy's tears, I finally saw the suffering wrought by the villains of the wild. The Frontiers demanded a blade, and so I heeded.
Is that how you lost your eye in the goblin battle?
It was an even bloodier day, and a stronger foe. It's made from pure bloodstone, carved from the Galena Mountains just north of the Moonsea. A reminder that sometimes blood must be shed and sacrifices must be made. But that story is reserved for lifetime friends and calmer days.
All right. So nothing on our current goblin camp situation, but that's okay.
Curious. I drained you dry, yet your body seems no more worse for wear.
Freak a leak.
Perhaps I might find use for it again.
Let's press her on her quarrel with Shadowheart real quick. This is the most options I've had for a character yet. I haven't had a lot of firsts in this game, which is very cool. This playthrough. Have you guys ever had more than 12? I know that the 12th one is leave, but a dozen dialogue options is pretty fucking crazy. Let's ask her about the quarrel with Shadowheart quick.
It is over where I am concerned.
Perfect. I'll simply kill you both if it happens again. I think that might be a little bit further down the line to say that to our companions. I think Krolt at this point will certainly say that to basically anybody we cross with, but I don't think he's quite there yet with Lae'zel and Shadowheart yet, because I still think Lae'zel could kind of kick our ass. That's a relief.
It is through conflict that we strengthen our bonds. Yet I do not recommend Shadowheart seek it again. The next resolution may not end in her favor.
Cool. So let me tell her that I have these urges.
Many a good warrior savors the scent of blood in the air. There's no shame in a capricious murder now and again. Too many, though, and you waste energy and dull your weapon. My suggestion, attack with purpose and savor your kills. And if the urge proves too much, well, I'm sure we can find you a goblin or two to carve up.
Lae'zel was really cool with that. Lae'zel seems to know a thing or two about the parasites as well, so my past is a mystery to me. Could the parasite have caused that?
Ceramorphosis takes all of you. Mind, body, soul. An ordinary tadpole would eat at your memories until they were lost to the void. But our tadpoles are far from ordinary. I wonder if another factor's in play.
Well, we know that they're magically modified from Halsin. I think she might just straight up stab me if I said that. Ceramorphosis, yeah, there's a lot here, but not a lot that we haven't learned already. Because the dreams linger in my of course they will. You look so unusual. Get the Yankee, you're rare in these parts. Yeah, sure.
I expect I am your first.
I've never heard of your kind until my capture. Yeah, being in the Underdark my whole life, and plus, I wouldn't know even if I had heard of you.
I suppose I am as alien to you as you are to me. I know of your kind, but I do not often encounter them. That large, fleshy nose of yours looks like a mistake.
As if your upturned bat snout is any better.
Better is an opinion, but mine is certainly more economical, disciplined, dignified.
Cool. Alrighty, we got through a few of those. Astarion, I'm going to tell you about my urges as well.
Just so you know, I don't judge you for what happened to that bard, Alfira.
Oh, thanks, Astarion.
But the look of guilt on your face was priceless.
I love you, Astarion. I get it. I get it. I get it. Oh. I'm glad you had fun watching me sweat.
I don't care, really. But you could have been more subtle about it.
I tried, man. You guys didn't. I didn't roll. The dice were not in my favor. How does someone become a vampire exactly? Yeah, that's what I'm curious about.
Just find a vampire that will drink your blood and turn you into a vampire spawn. Their obedient puppet. In theory, the next step is to drink their blood. Once you've done that, you're free and a true vampire.
So they bite you, you bite them? In theory?
People think the biggest threat to a vampire is a cleric with a stake. It's not. The biggest threat to a vampire is another vampire. They're scheming, paranoid, power-hungry beasts.
I know someone like
So
that.
why would any vampire give up control over a spawn to create a competitor? Trust me, it doesn't happen.
So then how did you wind up a vampire? Now I'm interested.
Why do you insist on exhuming the past?
Because I'm interested.
I was a slave. A vampire spawn. Kept by the Tsar family. Perhaps I still am. I was never able to resist their commands. But now, I've been conveniently lost. They won't ever control me again.
Yeah, that line hits, dog. That line hits. I'm really excited to experience Astarian's story really for the first time on camera. I mentioned in episode 1, I think it was, that I have beef with Astarian for my prior playthrough, and that's because I brought him all the way to the Cazador thing, and I guess there's a couple of like weird choices you can make where you can prevent Cazador from completing the ritual, but then Astarian will, you also stop Astarian from ascending, and Astarian will basically tell you to go fuck yourself and leave the party, and that's what happened. And I was very in my opinion, it just really doesn't make sense. But Astarian, this is the quote-unquote redemption, and by redemption I mean let's have fun route. So it's good to talk to you, brother man. Shadowheart we spoke with. Gale, how you doing, man? Talk to Gale here.
I'll say one thing for our troop. We're not short on drama. I'm glad Shadowheart and Lae'zel settled their differences peacefully.
Me too, brother man.
Eventually.
I was wondering, that condition of yours, why does it require magic?
Think of it as tribute. The kind a king might pay to a more powerful neighbor to avoid invasion. As long as I pay, there will be peace. But should I ever stop, along comes a war. I can assure you, the battlefield would extend well beyond the borders of my body alone. An eruption the size of Waterdeep, I think my exact words were.
Something like that. Okay, I was wondering about that mighty lord you told me about in your story. Karsus, I assume.
The very same. Karsus was perhaps the most powerful wizard that ever lived. The child who would be a god, the elves called him. And he
Oh my
tried.
god, I look pissed.
With a spell of his own devising, he endeavored to usurp in one fell swoop the power of the goddess of magic. Mistril, she was called then. Imagine what it must have felt like to be a god, to know yourself, to be untouchable, to be mistaken. As Karsus aimed his spell at her, she began to unravel, and with her, the entire weave. Too late did he realize what he had unleashed. It would have been the end of everything had not Mistril sacrificed herself. The goddess of magic is all magic. By dying, the entire weave was lost, and the spell that challenged a god failed. It was the end of Mistril, the end of Karsus, and the end of an entire civilization. As the child who would be a god was turned to stone, his empire came crashing down around him. The floating cities of Netheril were no more. An event that came to be known as Karsus's folly.
So Gale, occasionally, when you click on him in combat, he will go, Mistra Real, or something along those lines. And I'm wondering, because I always wonder what he's actually saying, because it sounds eerily similar to Mistra, but clearly not. And I'm wondering if he's saying Mistriel. You have to admire the man's ambition. He very nearly succeeded. Gale has shown us that he is a man of ambition. And I certainly think a man of such ambition could be useful to us. Especially in Act 3 when we're facing the Steel Watch. Because one thing I love to do is have Shadowheart cast Create Water, and we're going to be able to do this even sooner than Act 3, but especially with the Steel Watch because they're vulnerable to lightning. Shadowheart cast Create Water, Gale, and another wizard, in this case Krolt, make an X with lightning bolt spells. You can do like 120, 150 damage in a turn at like level 5 with that. You can kill, it's so much fun. You have to admire the man's ambition. He very nearly succeeded.
If it takes the death of a god to stop you, I'd say your ambition has gotten somewhat out of hand. Not that I'm one to talk, of course. Now, so many centuries later, I try to follow in the footsteps of Karsus. Not to destroy Mistra, to prove my love for her. He tried to control only a fraction of the magic that was unleashed that fateful day. I merely sought to return one tiny diamond to an imperfect crown. Gale's folly, one might call it. History, repetition. It's the way things go.
Aw. What do you make of having a vampire in our camp?
I know what it is to hunger. And I know what it takes to keep that hunger under control. He's done that so far, despite his condition. So long as he sates his appetite elsewhere, I'm happy to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Cool, cool. There's not really much he can do. I'm not really expecting to hear much from him in that regard about what he'd do if he feels the Netherese magic overtaking him. Yeah, let me check real quick. Shadowheart spellbook. Make sure that we got things that we want here. I think it'd be cool to have aid. I think we might take aid over hold person. Just because, again, you really don't fight that many people that are labeled as humanoids, especially at this point in the game. Heal your allies and increase their hit point maximum by 5 points. But it only does 5 healing, so you gain 10 HP. But that goes until long rest. Yeah, no, I don't think it's really that worth it. The Prayer of Healing also isn't worth it. Yeah, okay, so we like where Shadowheart's at. Krolt,
Pull yourself together.
I think, is in the same boat here. Pretty happy with his spells, but we'll double check. Yep. All great with me. Maybe we'd rather Shatter than Thunderwave. Yeah, I think we're gonna... but then that's a... Yeah, no, we're gonna keep Thunderwave. Because then that's a couple too many level 2 spells, in my humble opinion. And we're going to finish this episode off. We are going to run over to the Goblin Camp and just sell off the wares that we have. Talk to Grat.
Your greatness. Something catch your eye.
Not quite. Sell these off, and yeah, doesn't really... I don't really see much that intrigues us. Astarion, do you still have the...
What now?
Maybe we sent it to camp. I was looking for the other circlet of the Ancients. Key of the Ancients. But I guess not.
Been a pleasure, your greatness.
Thank you very much. So, let's take another quick look here. So, we can save Mayrina from Monty Ethel. That's something that we'll definitely get back to. Continue traveling with Shadowheart. Continue traveling with Astarion. But yeah, there's a few bits and pieces thrown around the rest of the Heartlands area that we got to get to. We certainly still need to look for the missing shipment. We got to find our way to the creche over here. There's a little bit more for us to explore in this regard as well. And so yeah, we're going to keep on chugging along here. Once we get to level 5, that's when we're going to head down to the Underdark and really get going into the Mountain Pass. But until then, we're just going to focus on a couple more odds and ends in the Heartlands. And so, with that said, I want to thank you guys very, very much for watching. And we'll pick up literally right here, right where we left off in the next one. Thanks so much, guys. I will see you there. Peace.